We are a chosen generation. So every human being has the capacity to be a prophet. So we talked about how God links up with Moses. He links up with some people and he creates a special relationship with them. That's in the Old Testament. But now God has the capacity to make friends with anybody he likes. So every human being has the capacity to be a prophet. Every human being has the capacity to be a seer. So what determines whether you're a seer or a prophet is God. God says, I like him. I'm going to be close to him. I'm going to reveal my glory through him. I'm going to reveal secrets through him. I'm going to do wonders through him. I'm going to do miracles through him. That's all that is required. Every human being has the capacity to be a prophet. Every human being has the capacity to be a seer. So it is God that determines what happens. Because if God decides to give you those gifts, then voila. If God decides to give you those privileges, then it will happen. That's the point. So that explains why Moses became a hero. Why did Moses become a hero in the eyes of his people? It was because God loved him so much that he gave him gifts. God loved him so much that he decided to include Moses in his goals and plans for his people. God comes up with a national development plan for Israel and he says somebody has got to lead that plan. God comes up with a national development plan for his people and he says somebody is going to lead it and that person is going to be Moses. Moses had the capacity to perform miracles. Why? Because God loved him so much that he gave him special gifts. Moses had the capacity to do magic. Why? Because God loved him so much that he gave him some special privileges. So you see, there's a connection. Royal priesthood, choosing generation. If I was born in the time of Moses, I'll be running after Moses. I'll be congregating with the children of Israel. We'll be moving around the wilderness because we are looking forward to Moses to first link up with God. It is what Moses tells us. That's what we'll do. But now it's different because we belong to the royal priesthood generation. Now it's different. We belong to a choosing generation. God can link up with anybody. A boy, a girl, a man, a woman. God can reveal himself through anybody. That's the point. So it is God that decides what happens. It's God that decides who he's going to link up with. So let me end by dissecting the concept of a prophet. So I'm going to talk about a prophet and I'm going to link it up with the death of Prophet TB Joshua. When you say somebody is a prophet, what does it really mean? Now, prophets, when you say somebody is a prophet, you're indirectly saying that person is a seer. Say he's a prophet, it means he's a seer. So the concept or what you call prophet is not limited to Christianity. No, that's why you see there is an intersection in the beliefs of Christians and Muslims. A Christian believes in prophets, a Muslim also believes in prophets. That's why you talk about Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. You also talk about Prophet Elijah. So you have prophets in the Bible, you also have prophets in the Quran, and Christians and Muslims believe in prophets. So according to the Abrahamic faith, a prophet is a human being that is chosen. Emphasis on the word chosen. A prophet is a human being that is selected. Emphasis on the word selected. A prophet is a human being that is appointed. Emphasis on the word appointed by God. to reveal the mind of God to other people. So you can say prophets are revealers of secrets. We have just said God hides in glory. Say there's so much brightness, there's so much light. The presence of God is linked to glory. The glory of God shines, it illuminates that the face or eyes of human beings cannot behold it. Say God hides in glory. So he links up with human beings. He chooses one, he chooses the other. He selects one, he selects the other. He appoints one, he appoints the other, and he reveals secrets to them. Prophets are revealers of divine secrets. Prophets are custodians of uncommon truth. Today, you talk about preachers. Today, you talk about reverence. If a church does not have a prophet, that church is blind. That's truth. Every church is supposed to have a prophet. If a church does not have a prophet, that church becomes blind, because the whole essence of a prophet is to see. See, the person is called a prophet because he has special privileges. The person is called a prophet is because he has the capacity to foretell the future. Prophets have the capacity to see the future. That's why some of them can give warning signs of danger ahead. Prophets have the capacity to foretell the future. That's why they see visions. Some of them sleep and they wake up. They begin to reveal the mind of God. So the reason why I say God can link up with anybody is because in my life, I have been able to recognize the move of God, the hand of God, and the power of God. I've had some special experiences when I did my NYSC. So it makes me believe that I have some features or qualities of a prophet. I saw the future when I was doing my NYSC. There was a governor in the state I was doing my youth service at the time. I don't want to mention the guy's name, but when I'm done talking about it, I'm sure a lot of people will know the person I'm referring to. So I had the opportunity to do youth service in the north of Nigeria. That was the first time I traveled to the north. When I got there, what I saw made my eyes bleed. Sometimes when you are privileged, you need to travel. When you travel, you see things that will make you understand, that will make you humble you. My youth service experience was a humbling experience. That's the truth. People are really suffering. And when you stay in your apartment, you enjoy. When you stay in your comfort zone, you cannot really know what they are going through. It's when you travel, that's when you see things. It's when you travel, that's when you get the first hand experience. So when you travel, that's when you get the eyewitness experience. So I was amazed at the level of underdevelopment and retrogression in northern Nigeria. Lots of people living in denial, lots of people living with lack of basic amenities. See, some things that are supposed to be very, very basic. Say you need it to live. Something like water, for instance. There's no water in the north. It's like a desert, it's like a dry land. Some of these basic amenities of life, they are not easily accessible. So I kept asking myself the right questions. I kept asking myself some questions. How can a region, how can northern Nigeria that produced the highest number of leaders or head of states in Nigeria be living in abject poverty? You know, I got close to finding my answer when I got sick and I had to visit the Federal Medical Center of the state. Apparently, that was the go-to medical facility for primary health care in the state. When I got to FMC, I was told that there was no drugs in the hospital and that I would have to get it elsewhere. I went home with my prescriptions from the doctor and I began to do research. You know, sometimes people wonder, this guy like research too much. Why? Researchers are interested in revealing what is not known. Researchers are interested in thinking deep. Researchers are deep thinkers. You know, they hate things on the surface. They hate conventional things. A researcher is somebody that is interested in knowing things other people do not know. So I was faced with a challenge. So I was interested in researching as a means of solving the problem or getting a wider scope of view of the challenge. So I later found out after doing research or findings that the then governor of the state was a pharmacist by training. I said, wow, what does a pharmacist do? I was living in a legislative quarters in the state capital. My landlord was a legislator when I was in the north. You know, there is no airport in the state. So if you travel by air, you must land in the airport in a neighboring state that shares the same border with the state. Sometimes when I am at home, I would hear sound of a plane fly over my compound. So I began to ask questions. Who is that guy flying that plane? This is obviously not the commercial plane. The guy is always flying the plane above my compound, over my compound. So I was made to understand that the guy flying the plane was the governor of the state and that he's actually the one flying or piloting the plane himself. I said, wow, this governor has now turned from a pharmacist into a pilot. I said to myself, the problem is solved. So you see, like a very good customer service agent, I was interested in bridging the gap of customer disservice and customer satisfaction or customer experience. I went to the hospital in the state. You go to hospitals to get drugs. You go to hospitals to get relief for sickness and illnesses. When I could not get what I wanted, so there was a service gap. I was interested in bridging the gap. That was why I was interested in doing research. Why did I do the research? Was to link the service failure to an office. Why did I do the research? Was to link the service failure to a person. So after I did the research, I came up with the person that was responsible for the mess. It makes a lot of sense. He's supposed to be a pharmacist. It makes a lot of sense. He's supposed to. So you can imagine a state hospital, a government hospital does not have drugs. Not just Federal Medical Center, but the state hospital. The hospital that is supposed to be overseen or controlled by the state. There is no drugs. So who is responsible for providing drugs? I just found the person, and the person was flying over my house or my apartment. I said to myself, problem solved. I told a friend, and I even wrote a piece about the governor on my laptop then. I told him that as long as God lives, calamity will befall that governor flying on that plane. Obviously, he did not take me seriously. That's something about Jesus Christ. When Jesus was born, he was not really recognized in Nazareth. Say the savior of the world was not acknowledged by his ecosystem, by his village, by his people. He needed to live. The savior of the world was not appreciated by Nazareth, but he was not appreciated by his own people. He needed to live. I told him he obviously did not take me serious. That's exactly what happened to Jesus Christ when he was born and he was growing up in Nazareth. They didn't really take him serious. So that's exactly how I predicted it. That's exactly how it happened.